Hello.
Hello there.
Hello, hello.
Blessings to you. Blessings, Adriana. Great to see you.
Oh, right back at you, Jerome. Great to see you too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great great to hear your voice, see your smiling face, and you're in Winnipeg?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I've never been to Canada before. It's on my list. I haven't been there yet.
That's okay. I won't hold it against you, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. Currently, I'm in Texas. I'm in
Oh,
Texas,
that's
USA.
right. I knew that. We had this conversation already.
Yeah.
Texas. You guys have some good fruit down there, I bet.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's all right. You know.
Yeah.
When I was in Costa Rica, there was some things
Mhm.
I was having out there that they don't have out here. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
Costa Rica has great fruit.
yeah. And when it comes to Canada, were you born and raised?
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. So, it's amazing just the time that we're in right now, Adriana. I'm sure you can feel so many shifts, so many things going on right now, just the consciousness, the awareness, just the information that is being put out, the vibration that is being put out in the nation, the communication, and just the different conversations that people are having each and every day. It's very enlightening, you know? Yeah. Have you been feeling that?
I'm feeling what you just said. All of that was rhymed. Did anybody else catch that? That I felt like you were about to like break out into like, one of those spoken word, like, oh, slam poetry. That's what that said. The communication of the nation, the vibration. It was awesome.
Did you you used to be into poetry? Were you ever spoken word?
No, but I used to write poetry. I've done a lot of performance and acting, so that is in my. That's not really related. Maybe it's related. It's art, so yes.
Eh, like theater, like stage acting, or
Yeah,
like
like stage acting, film acting, clown. I did tons of clown. I still love those things. I've just right now been really focusing on the health aspect of things because I've just been so fascinated and I tend to follow my fascinations. I don't like to hold myself down to stuff I'm not currently interested in. So, but I still love those things.
that. You follow your fascinations. I love that.
Yeah.
Expand your imagination and follow your fascination. That is
Feel the
beautiful.
vibration. Oh my God, we are just rhyming right, Jerome. You are a very special person. You're very special.
I have a feeling, Adriana, I have a feeling that you're good at improvisation, you know?
It's one of my favorite things to do, yes. Clown is all improvisation, in my opinion. Well, it is. That's, yeah. So, yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, when did you used to do clown? Because I think you're the first person that I've talked to on here that has done clown. Like when you say doing clown, for anybody who doesn't really understand what you mean when you say doing clown.
No, it sounds like doing hard drugs or something. No, it's, I was doing clown back in the day. No, it's like it's not like you don't show up to birthday parties and throw on a nose and stuff like that. It's like a pure art form, just like acting or singing or dancing. There's an actual school that I went to in Canada. It's it's different now, but it used to be called the Clown Farm, lovingly, also known as the Manitoulin Conservatory of Creation and Performance. It's based on Pachenko style clown, so red nose clown. You go through an entire process of birthing your clown, essentially, like your clown, not a clown that you're not becoming Charlie Chaplin, you're not becoming a different clown or whatever, Jim Carrey, whatever. You create your, you don't create, it comes out of you. It's such a beautiful process of allowing it to come out. It's all very impulsive. So you were talking about improvisation. That's basically what it is. You allow your clown to come through you. So it brings out all of your very dark aspects as well as your very light and innocent aspects of you. It can be quite grotesque. It's not for children, not necessarily. So if I created a clown performance right now, I would have to either make it for kids or for like whoever, right? So I don't do clown for kids. I do clown for just the general public. My clown was all about spreading love and joy in the community. That was my clown. Some people are very dark clowns. Like they're like a little bit like they go into like dark humor and really grotesque stuff and really like uncomfortable things. So it's cool. It's really cool, man.
It sounds
Yeah.
cool. It sounds so interesting. Like this is, I mean, I've never even touched this topic. I've never heard of this. So you're saying it was
Yeah.
the clown farm was like a clown school, or like you had clown classmates in the clown college? Was it like and there was a clown consciousness that came through you? You birthed it.
Basically, yeah. But you know, everybody has a clown. That's the thing, is it's everybody has their inner clown. Like you have a clown. Everybody on this call right now, all 7 of you, you all have a clown. It's just within you, and it's not like some creepy thing. It's just you. It's parts of yourself that you don't show to the world. So what I like to say is that with clown, you're bringing the inside and putting it on the outside. So you know how as humans we tend to hide what we really think, we tend to hide how we really feel. Clowns don't do that. Clowns are like, bleh! Like they show what's on their mind, and they don't use words necessarily. They can, but they use their essence. They use their facial expressions and like the way they're acting. Like they don't really act. That's the thing. Like clowns are kind of nuts. Like if you have an audience, clowns don't pretend like the audience isn't there. Like when the clown has an audience and somebody coughs really loudly, the clown's gonna, right? They're not just going to like pretend it didn't happen if there's an interruption or something. So there's always the acknowledgement of what's happening around them. And that's why with clown, it's so amazing, because you can write a structure to your show, but you gotta, there's always freedom in that structure, because clowns are little badasses. They're rebels. Just like anybody who's doing a fruit diet, I think we're all a bunch of punks. I love it.
So it's almost like it sounds like Deadpool. You know, Deadpool, like breaking the fourth wall. You're speaking directly to the audience. The crowd is there, and you're acknowledging. You're in reality.
Yes.
Okay.
You're in reality, but the clown can also imagine its own reality. So it also works in illusion, not illusion, but like let's say the clown. I guess you would call it a character, but the clown's beingness, they believe they're a flower. So they're actually a flower in their flower universe. So everybody in the audience is like a bumblebee or whatever they think it is. So clowns work within their own kind of world. So it's kind of like some people could call it like you're basically playing pretend. The clown knows it's pretending, and it doesn't lie about the reality. That's the thing. Like, so for example, clowns can never bring like knives on stage or something, because that would actually be dangerous, because clowns are so unpredictable, or like anything breakable. But like, let's say we use clown logic. So for example, a clown might use like, I don't know, a hairbrush as a knife or something, and it's using it as a knife, and like it knows it's not actually a knife. So it might like be doing that, and then it'll look at the audience like like it freaking knows. Like, and the audience will feel that. Like the audience can pick up on these very subtle cues from the clown. I love that we're talking about clown and not fruit. That's crazy.
I mean, I just love to let it flow sometimes, wherever it goes, however it grows, you know.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the glow on your face when you're talking about this, because it sounds like you're recalling so many memories, Adrianna, you know.
Yeah.
When you're talking about these clown constructs, the consciousness and the beingness in that, because how was it therapeutic for you? Would you say, like, when you said it brought what's on the inside to the outside, like what is something unforgettable that really remains with you?
Well, I think because it's so vulnerable, when I was going through the schooling of it, like I did well, but I was so just concerned with looking bad that a lot of times I would just feel terrible on stage. But then when I would let go and was like, I don't give a crap what anybody thinks about me, that is when it always went the best with the audience, and it always felt the best. I felt so at ease. And then there was a time where I decided to do 50 days in a row of clowning on the street, as I called it. So I would go out in my neighborhood. It's kind of like a happening neighborhood, so I knew it was a good spot to do it. And I would dress as my clown Vario. That's my clown's name. And Vario would just go around with music, like on a little music box, and just dance around and and just spread love and joy was the intention. And so Vario is just very I guess expressive and loves to dance and loves to sing and would just like give people love like, by waving at them and complimenting people. This is just what would come through. So I would allow it, and it always went so well. And what happened after that experience, I felt so unbelievably confident, and not in a cocky way. I just kind of felt like, man, I don't care what anybody thinks about the way I look. I feel like I can just go dance, and I don't care if somebody thinks I'm weird. I don't do that. Like, I don't step out of my way to go, cross social boundaries like that. Because I don't actually like making people uncomfortable necessarily. I know Vario did make some people feel uncomfortable because some people are afraid of clowns. Understandably so. Some people have ruined clowns. They really have, with their creepy clown BS. I'm sorry, it's not clowning. Anyways. So that changed my life. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this. You really, it gave me a lot of pictures, because you remind me, there was one thing that I heard that was the Joker's greatest secret. The Joker, one of Batman's, some would argue is his greatest villain of all time. And like, people think, when they think of the Batman, they think he represents order, and they think the Joker represents chaos, and they think that they're polar opposites. But somebody was saying, and he did an analysis, he did a full breakdown of the Joker, and he said, you know what the Joker's greatest secret is? He said the Joker's greatest secret is that he knows he's a comic book character.
That's the thing. That's a clown.
Thing. He knows it. It's like he knows that somebody just took a pen or whatever, is drawing us on this page right now.
Yes.
Like,
oh.
He breaks the fourth wall. He'll look at the camera sometimes in Batman the animated series. He would look at the camera and like whisper something, and sometimes in the comic book he would look over at you and he would make sure you're still watching. And it's amazing just to think about it, like all of his actions and just the things that he would drive Batman crazy, is he realized that none of it mattered.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what a clown is. Like, a clown will get up on stage and they tell the truth about the lie.
Right.
They're honest about the lie, just like the Joker. That is such a beautiful, oh my God, thank you for sharing that. I'll always remember that. Yeah. Yes. That's what clowns are. He's a clown. He's a true clown.
Yeah. So Adrianna, back when you were performing and just, going out on the street, how long ago was this? Because you're very youthful, you're very vibrant, you have a lot of vitality, a lot of vigor within you. And if I would guess, I would peg you in your early 20s, but am I right?
No.
Okay.
but thank you.
So
no, I'm actually.
How long ago was this? Yeah.
It was like, when I did this, I was 28. And this was like, gosh, like this was during the pandemic. So I'm 31 now. But yeah, so this was when I was like around 28. I did this. Yeah.
Okay. 31. So we're around the same age. We're right there.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's amazing. So when you were 28, you were doing this, and what was your life like at 28? Like, when it came to, consumption, when it came to your lifestyle or your style of living, what was really giving to you at that time, and how did it transform since then?
Well, back then, like when the pandemic hit, I had one of my worst multiple sclerosis flare-ups ever. It was horrible. That's actually what got me down the path of healing. I was already a vegan. I had been vegan since I was 23, and I have been vegan since I was 23, but just lots of junk food. But in 2020, I had terrible, terrible symptoms, and then I started changing my diet. And at the time that I was doing that clowning on the street, I had come to a point where I was doing pretty much only fruits and vegetables, but also some cooked vegetables. And I was still incorporating oil, and I was drinking a lot of coffee, like maybe 2 or 3 cups a day, which to me, that's a ton of coffee. So there was still that aspect. So I was having still some major problems. But I was able to do that. Like, I was very vibrant, very alive, and a lot of it was to do with the coffee. But I mean, also was eating an extremely light diet as well. And I knew I was keeping fats really low. So I was already on that path. Yeah. And then it just, from there, after the whole clown thing, I started getting more into this health stuff, especially with Medical Medium. I was really interested in his work. And so I started doing more and more just fruits and vegetables. And then eventually I was just fruits and vegetables with some cooked. And then eventually in October of 2023, I had run into, on YouTube, Eli Martyr. If you don't know him, he's incredible. Stuntman in Canada, fruitarian. He has some really educational videos about fruitarianism and raw veganism. And then also Doug Graham, 80-10-10, obsessed with him. He's awesome. I read his book, was raw vegan overnight, and now I've met him quite a few times, and Eli too, and they're just the best people in the world. Well, they're some of the best people in the world. Galia Real says, I love Eli too. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, awesome. So Doug Graham, the 80-10-10. So shout out to Doug Graham.
Shout out to Doug. Love Doug.
Oh my goodness. You know, Adrianna, when you're talking about MS, because I know in your bio, it talks about being MS free, MS symptom free. You know, you talk about how you were able to overcome so many obstacles and how you were able to just get past so much adversity when it came to MS. If anybody didn't really understand or had never really heard of multiple sclerosis, how would you describe it?
MS is a neurological disease. It's an autoimmune condition, as they call it. So basically what would happen is if I allowed myself to continue with the lifestyle choices I was making, then my body would continue to break down the myelin sheath on my spinal cord and brain in these certain spots where these lesions, this scar tissue occurs. So basically what would happen is that that would stop me from having certain neurological abilities. So I was starting to lose abilities in my legs. I went way back when, because I was eating a really bad diet, and it was pretty loaded up with a lot of medications I had in the past. So that also has tons of toxicity that gets stored in your body. So my body was not able to repair itself because of all the crap I was feeding myself. So if I had stayed on that path, then it would have just gotten worse and worse. Some people go blind. Some people can't walk. Some people no longer can hold their bowels. I was losing bowel function as well. Not bowel function. I wasn't able to hold it for a little while there, which was really terrible. Just super embarrassing. And then balance as well. So most people end up in a wheelchair or blind or both, or they die early. So, but to me, like when I found out I had MS, I knew from the moment I found out, I was like, I'm going to heal. I don't care what you guys say. I'm not taking drugs. I'm going to heal. That was I knew, because I already knew too much about this. I knew too much about the mind-body connection, and I knew a little bit about nutrition. And my neurologist, I actually asked him, I was like, hey man, do you think I could heal with diet? And he was like, no. I was like, what? Okay, he said no. That's basically what he said. And he laughed. And then I was like, okay, I am going to do that anyways. And he was like, okay.
This was
Good
a
luck.
nutrition that you asked us?
Yeah, well, I just asked him. I was like, hey, like, because he's a
Oh, a
neurologist. He was a neurologist.
neurologist. Okay.
Yeah, and
You
so
asked him
he
about,
was not a nutritionist.
oh, so
No, a
he,
nutritionist would probably give me really bad advice. Sorry to say, but they probably would. Anyway, go ahead.
but you asked the neurologist about
Yeah.
diet, and he said absolutely not.
He
That diet
laughed
was
and rejected it. And this will happen. I'm telling you right now, most doctors, lots of respect for doctors because they help us with acute conditions. If I break my leg, I want a doctor, like, please. But most doctors, in my opinion, they don't know about nutrition, the connection between nutrition and overall health. They don't understand how our diets actually cause and create these diseases. They just know how to treat and suppress symptoms. So they give us drugs, and those drugs just suppress the symptoms so that you don't feel them, but you never actually get to the root cause of the issue. And so it just gets worse and worse and worse over time. And you also become more and more loaded up with this toxicity from the drugs, because drugs are drugs. It doesn't matter what the name is, whether it's cocaine or Tylenol. It's a drug. They're highly concentrated chemicals that get lodged in our system. They're not meant to be there. Anyway, I'm about to go on a rampage. I'll stop.
no, you don't need to stop. You're hitting home for me. I mean, this really hits home in a lot of ways, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I mean, well, I kind of had a feeling you'd be down with this. I can tell, by who you are and stuff. But yeah. So that was that was a funny time because he also recommended to me that I should go to the MS workshop, like the seminars. And I was like, why? And he said, because then you'll get information about what to expect. And I was like, I am not going. Are you kidding me? You want me to go there so I can expect worse and worse diseases, like disease processes? Like, why would I want to get ready for that? And that's the other thing too. They also don't seem to understand the mind-body connection. Like, if you visualize in your mind yourself in a wheelchair, that's where you're going to go. It's like if you're running in a certain direction, you're looking in that direction because that's where you're running to. But it's the same thing with our thoughts. If you keep thinking about the thing you don't want, you're going to keep going in that direction. You're not going to imagine the possibility that there could be something you could do. And for me, that's all I could think about was, how do people heal from this? And so I did research. That thought alone led me to these different resources online and books. And I found there's so much. There are so many stories of people healing. And the problem is that we're told about the prognosis of, well, you don't have a very good chance. But the reason they give us these prognoses is because that's what's normal. And what's normal is for people not to make any changes. What's normal is for people to be on the SAD diet, or in my case, the CAD diet, SCD, the standard Canadian diet, whatever. Anyways, but to be on that standard diet, right? That's what's normal. And if you're sticking to what's normal, then yeah, you're going to have the normal prognosis. You better look forward to a wheelchair then, because if you're not going to make any changes, good luck. Like, either with your mind and with what you're putting in your body. It makes such a massive difference, obviously, and you have to get to the root cause.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's all I
thank
gotta
you
say.
for your testimony. No, thank you for your honesty, just your transparency, and like, just I could feel the passion that you have for this, and just your testimony is really powerful, Adrianna, because when I said you hit home, I can really relate to what you said about doctors and how they just don't have a lot of information when it comes to certain things. I mean, my mom's a doctor, she's an obstetrician gynecologist, and she would always side with the doctors when it came to, different psychiatrists prescribing me medication. They said I had the attention deficit hyperactivity. So, years and years of, Adderall, Ritalin, Strattera, Concerta, like stuff that was just making me feel, so weird, and I just didn't understand. And I was very, I was kind of like a troubled child, but I was very energetic, and it was making me feel it was making me feel different. So with all those medications, what were you saying were some of the medications that just get stored? Because I mean, it wasn't until 11th grade that I feel emancipated myself from the slavery of like just being heavily medicated,
Yeah.
for so long, that I wonder still today, like, what is the residue, the remnants, the remains of all of that medication? Like, what did that actually store inside my body? You're really making me wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still wondering too sometimes, but you're not the only one who's heavily medicated. I'm sure you're aware of that. Like when I was young, I, took all the meds when I was sick, right? Like Tylenol, Advil, Buckley's, all those things. Not name dropping, by the way. Don't take those drugs. And I also did the whole birth control thing when I was very young. And I did that for several years. And all of these remedies are used to suppress symptoms that we say are wrong. Like for you, you had, like you said, lots of energy. Like why not just allow a kid to have lots of energy? Aren't they supposed to have lots of energy? But because we're trying to adapt them to a school environment that is so unnatural to both teachers, any human, any living thing should not be in a school. Jesus. Okay, sorry. That was anyway.
No, no, no. I mean, I agree. It took me a long time to understand that. Yeah. No,
I'm highly opinionated, so but we all are. Some of us just don't want to say it. We just don't want to say what we're opinionated about. But anyway, about the level of toxicity, I can't say for sure exactly, but what I do know is that these medications are very concentrated chemicals, and chemicals like that are not supposed to actually be in our body. We are not evolved or designed to ingest and assimilate these toxins, and actually our bodies are designed to store toxins if we can't eliminate them yet. Because, okay, here's what happens. When you take something like, let's say you have a headache, for example, and you're like, hey, I'm going to take an Advil. I want it to go away. So you take the Advil, but what was actually trying to happen in your head is there was actually healing occurring. Your body was trying to heal itself from something up there. But what happens is when you take that medication, the reason the pain stops is because your body and the process in your body that's trying to heal that has to go down to the toxicity the toxin you just ingested, and it has to go and get rid of it as best as it can, because that's a toxin. So it doesn't actually matter which drug you take. Your body's going to respond to it like, oh shit, there's something in here I have to get out right now. So we can't actually work on this healing project right now. We have to go deal with that thing, that poison, immediately. It's like when you get food poisoning. Everybody knows what happens when you get food poisoning, okay? Like, it's terrible. Because your body needs to respond pronto. Otherwise, you're going to die, or you're going to have a really harmful reaction. Your body always has a priority list, and it always puts the most dire situation on the top of the list, obviously. It wants you to survive. That's its top priority. And so all these medications we're putting in, first of all, it has to go deal with it, but then we're putting all this food down that is usually toxic or indigestible or just foreign matter, basically, non-food, and we put it in our body, and our body's like, oh gosh, more toxicity. Okay, we got to deal with this right now. And also, by the way, cooked food causes something called leukocytosis, I think it's called, which is when your white blood cell count goes up astronomically because why would your white blood cell count increase when you eat cooked food? Well, your body does that when there is a foreign invader or a toxicity in your body. So, of course, the white blood cells are like the little soldiers. They have to get rid of this stuff. So people eat a ton of cooked food. People eat, like I said, all this other toxic food. So your body has to go and deal with it. It has to get it out of your system as fast as possible. It has to digest it. So lots of energy is constantly going to healing and getting rid of toxicity that's being built up in your system. plus medication. Like, it's overwhelming. And then people actually, we wonder why we're sick. We wonder why we get colds, why we get allergies, why we get rashes, why we get all this stuff. The reason is because your body's trying to detoxify. Like, your body uses your, mucus, it uses your skin, it uses, of course, your bowels, obviously, to detoxify. And so all of these organs of elimination are going to be used in order to do this. Okay, so if you're getting like these rashes, these breakouts and all this stuff, like, it's not because there's a problem with your body. Your body's actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do, is trying to get out the garbage. For some people, it shows up on their skin. Some people get digestive issues. Some people get lots of mucus, allergies even. People become sensitive to certain things. We shouldn't be having allergies. I used to be allergic to cats. Keyword used to. Actually, it was when I went vegan and started becoming a healthier vegan that I all of a sudden wasn't allergic to cats anymore.
All of a sudden. All of a sudden.
All of a sudden. It's magic. It's like, literally, I mean, it's just it's so funny to me, because people think that raw vegans and fruitarians are wacky. Like, oh my God, you guys are crazy. But then we look at, like, every single other animal in nature is a raw foodist. Like, none of them cook their food.
No, they're not really.
Like, if there wasn't enough evidence out of all the species in the world that cooking food is unnatural, it's there. Anyway, you're right. I am really passionate about this.
I love it. Love it. I love talking about this stuff because it wakes you. It really wakes you up. It wakes you up and shakes you up.
Yeah, it does.
Into a new reality, for sure. Because even when you were talking, Adrianna, about the white blood cell, and the white blood cell count and how it spikes and it jumps up, you made me think of, did you ever see a movie with Chris Rock? This movie was called Osmosis Jones. You remember that movie?
Yes! I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
Osmosis Jones, that was a classic movie. We had that on VHS. And
VHS.
I still remember, popping it into the VCR and watching Osmosis Jones. And now when I have visions of it, I'm like, wow, there was such a message in that movie, because he was fighting for his life. And it was like against all odds. If anybody doesn't know, Osmosis Jones, he's a white blood cell, and he's like, he's combating with this virus that entered the body of Bill Murray, I believe, was playing the main character, Bill Murray. And I remember Bill Murray was at a zoo. I guess he was working at a zoo, and he was eating just horrible stuff. He was eating crazy stuff. And one of the things that he was eating was like this deviled egg or something that had all this stuff covering it. And he was about to eat it, but it slipped and fell into a monkey cage. And there was a monkey that grabbed the egg, and it was like, he put the egg in his mouth and started like playing with the egg, and then put the egg in his mouth and then dropped it. And then he was like, give me that, right? That's my egg. And he grabbed it from the monkey, and then, it was all dirty. It was all covered in all sorts of stuff. And then he just took it and kind of brushed it off and kind of, did what we used to do. We would kiss the germs up to God. That's what we did, Adrianna. If something fell on the floor, we would 5 seconds, right? There's a rule.
Right. Yeah.
It was only, we would kiss the germs up to God, and we would just still eat it. So he ate it, and his body was immediately infected with a huge just contamination. And like you said, the invader had infiltrated his vessel, and that began the movie. That was the villain of the movie. That was the whole
wow.
The movie was being played out inside of his body. Yeah.
Wow. Excellent monkey interpretation, by the way. That was spot on. I'm actually inspired. But no, you're so right. That is actually such a beautiful message. It's and I mean, the thing is, our bodies are meant to, like, if we have germs and bacteria come into us, that's a natural thing that happens, that occurs. It's actually okay. The problem is if we are encumbered and obstructed with all of this garbage, if our lymphatic system is not draining, if it's not getting all the toxicity out of our body, then our body has too many projects to deal with. And this is why we end up with diseases. This is why we end up not being able to get rid of these infections or bacterias. This is why we can't handle, some people can't even handle a flu. They drop dead. They get so sick it doesn't go away for weeks. Like, I know people who've had a cold, like they will get a cold, and when they get a cold, they have a cold for a week or two. And to me, that's crazy. Like, I don't get colds anymore. If I get any remnant of a cold, it lasts one day, maybe. It doesn't stand a chance in my body. And this is not a brag. This is just the way things are when you eat the foods that you are meant for, because now your body becomes very efficient. It becomes able to handle all of this stuff because it's like, oh, the digestion is so easy and this is so nutrient dense. There's no toxicity in this food. Well, barely any. Of course, there are chemicals in the air or whatever. But I have so much more energy to go and take care of this invader. So it's so much easier. It's amazing. Anyway.
Bingo. So when it came to, reversing the MS and just being completely symptom free and just turning completely 180 everything around after you had gotten, the prognosis or the diagnosis and they said, this is what's going to happen. And you said, no, it's not, and you made the decision to change and go elsewhere. What were some of the greatest contributing factors for you getting out of that situation? What was some of the greatest things that allowed you to transcend it?
I think it was just my mindset. Honestly, I just felt very confident. I'm so grateful that I was so rebellious about it. Like, I think it was actually just pure rebellion. I was like, no freaking way. Like, and not because I was like in denial. I knew that if I stayed the same, I would get those results. But I knew that I actually could change, and by changing, I could get the results I wanted. I, at the time, was very fortunate to have had my mind already slightly opened at that age to mind-body connection, already slightly opened to the way that food can affect the body, because I had just started learning about veganism, because I had just started going vegan that year. And so I had learned that, veganism is actually a lot healthier for you. And, people are actually healing disease with this vegan diet thing. And I thought that was so cool. So I actually thought my vegan diet was going to heal me, and that was fine. But of course, I was doing junk food vegan at the time, or just not that great. I was still bringing in loads of toxicity, but that really was what it was I was very confident and had the great fortune of already having had that information pop into my life.
Okay. What would you say would be the differences, Adrianna, versus like what you would consider junk food vegan and the way that you live today? Like, what were some of the levels that you kind of went through on that trajectory?
Such good questions. Can I just say, ask such great questions. Like, geez, it's such a pleasure to answer your questions. It really is. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But the trajectory. So when I first started, tons of bread, tons of processed vegan meats, vegan cheeses, because I was just exploring. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I was a vegan when I went vegan. I was like, yeah, I'm so vegan. Because for the animals, for the environment, for my health especially, I was so interested in that. So started with the vegan processed foods and all that. Whatever I could get that was vegan, I ate it. Vegan mayo, all that stuff. It's delicious. Come on. So I did all that exploring. I'm glad I did. And then eventually I started learning that, it's actually important to bring in more fruits and vegetables. And I was like, okay, I'll start bringing in more fruits and vegetables. And so I sort of was, doing that. I was like, okay, I'll have some vegetables in my sandwich, whatever. Had soup, whatever. And then coffee's vegan. I can have coffee. So I did coffee. Oh boy. And then when I started studying medical medium after I had my terrible symptoms in 2020, had my own pandemic. Anyways, I started eating a lot more fruits and vegetables, lots of potatoes, and I actually started noticing good results. I started healing very slowly, very slowly. I still was having really bad symptoms though. Still couldn't run. It was still very painful to do that. But I was getting better. Problem was I was still eating lots of oil, lots of higher fat stuff, lots of coffee, lots of stress. And then eventually after that, I started realizing like, okay, like if I actually want to get the right results, I need to go all in on this. So I went all in on only fruits and vegetables with cooked vegetables. Still drinking coffee. Noticed some really big improvements though. Really big improvements. I was like, okay, like I got most of my functioning back. This is great. Like, okay. But I still wasn't feeling really great. And then eventually I was like, okay, I gotta kick the coffee. Like something's off here. I just had this feeling like I needed to get rid of it. And then I went cold turkey. I cut it out and had such an intense detox reaction from that. Like the next day I felt like I got hit by a truck.
Whoa.
It was like,
whoa,
like I was
like, what do you mean?
like I was in bed for like 2 days. I had just really like flu-like symptoms. I almost thought it could have been COVID at the time because I don't know, but it really seemed just way too much of a coincidence that it was like the next day after stopping coffee. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. And then when I came home because I was in California at the time traveling, I came home and like a month later and had this insane bronchial attack where I was like coughing up so much mucus. And I had this feeling, I was like, I am detoxifying something. Like there is stuff coming out of me that needs to come out of me. Because it was an insane amount of mucus. Like it was like, okay, I'm glad this is coming out. I don't know why, like why there was so much, but maybe it's because I used to smoke weed or the coffee. I don't know. But after that, I was still going down the rabbit hole of like, what's better than this? Because something has to be better than this. And then I discovered, fruitarianism through Eli Martyr, as I said before. He has a great video, by the way. It's called The Curious Case of the Fruit Eating Man. It is the video that changed my life. And I've told him this before, and he's so funny when he receives compliments. He's like, oh, don't ever compliment Eli. He will freak out. No, I'm just kidding. Compliment him. But no, it totally changed my life. Just the way he described it. Because like we were talking about before, it's so like, wow, like it just makes so much sense. It's almost like when you're putting a puzzle together and you find the right pieces. That's what it felt like learning about fruitarianism, learning about raw veganism through the 80-10-10 diet. Please read this book if you haven't, anybody. It's so enlightening. It's so simple. It explains everything in such a beautiful and easy to understand way. And I love that about it because it really brought me in and it made so much sense to me. And once I did that, once I went raw, it was like, oh, whoa, digestion's better, function is way better. I keep getting better every day. Like the progression of healing is what I keep noticing. And that's what I love about this is that on raw, it was like there was no wall. It was like I just kept getting better and better. However, I do think that some people, like myself, do need to do a cleanse of some sort, like water fast or juice cleansing. I'm doing a juice cleanse, at the moment. Day 31. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
Gotta throw in a little brag. Oh, I like your fireworks. Thank you for the awesome. Fireworks. Yeah, I'm surprised I made it. Well, actually, I'm not surprised. I'm pretty stubborn. But yeah, I think most people need to do a cleanse though, because I think an unnatural lifestyle previously calls for like extraordinary remedies. So like obviously in nature, there would be no such thing as a juice cleanse, obviously, but a juice cleanse is a wonderful way to let your digestive system relax and heal and get out like any gunk that's in there. Now, I haven't experienced insane releases or anything like that, but I do think that this level of hydration and nutrition is so beneficial for anybody. And most people will release so much crap, literally crap, from their colon walls and things like that, and small intestine and all that. So it's very important to do water fast or a juice cleanse if you're not seeing the results you want. I really think so. And if you do a water fast, highly recommend you do it supervised, by the way. And if you do a juice cleanse, learn about how to do it properly.
Yeah. Thank you for this advice. You know, thank you for these wonderful tips, these pointers, these recommendations. You know, like this is really good information, especially for people who are going on this journey, or they feel the calling to embark on a journey like this. And
Yeah.
what you said as well, Adriana, definitely like the stuff that you start to release from your body, it can be very eye-opening, you know, like what people talk
Yeah.
about the, you know, not only the parasitic organism, the parasites, but like the mucoid plaque. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember, you know, some of my friends bravely, you know, taking videos and pictures of this rubbery substance that just smelled like death, and it was in the shape of her colon.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, look, it's in the shape, you know, like
Yeah.
there's gotta, she was squeezing it. She was like, there's gotta be meat in this. She was like, I've been a vegan for like 7 years or something. She was like, there's no way. There's no way, you know? So
It's crazy.
when you talked about how it's caked up and it's lined, you know, on the intestinal walls, like what do you feel like people really underestimate at like what we're really holding, like our body's capacity for storage, you know?
Yeah, well, I think that we just don't know that our body, because I mean, we're just living our lives. We don't really know that our body's storing toxins for us. Like, our bodies are amazing.
Yeah.
They're really incredible things. We have to remember this. They want to heal. They're always we're always detoxifying. Even if you're eating a standard American diet, your body's detoxifying. I mean, you're pooping and peeing every day. Like, that's detoxification. Your body is always doing it, always secreting stuff from your skin. You know, if you get mucus or whatever, that's detoxification. So your body's a miracle, and it stores toxicity because it has to. Because if you are consuming foods that are a problem, essentially, your body considers a lot of foods that you consume a problem, like cooked foods, indigestible foods, foods that are not meant for us, things that are not even food. Your body's like, oh, geez, there's a problem in here. We have to deal with this now. This is a foreign substance that just came into the digestive tract. We have to get it out. So we actually have to put off this toxicity that's built up. We have to deal with it later because it's not on the top of our priority list. So that's why it builds up. And this is what actually is the cause of disease. It's the snowball effect. So that's why there's like a progression of disease. It starts as like a mild symptoms, and then it gets worse, and then it's slightly worse. And then all of a sudden it's like full blown disease. All of a sudden it's stage 4. All of a sudden it's multiple sclerosis. All of a sudden it's, you know,
Wow.
whatever.
Yeah. So when you were finally just symptom free, like, can you recall the moment when you realized, like, wow, it's been a while, you know, like it's been a while since I felt the things I used to feel, since I
Yeah.
had the same issues I used to have. Like, what did it feel like for you to finally be liberated, you know?
Well, it's like, it's incredible. Like, if people underestimate the feeling of feeling normal. Like, the feeling of like being like in a healthy body is it feels like such a normal experience when you're younger,
Mm,
or when you're not dealing with something,
mm,
anything, even allergies. If it's like, okay, imagine if you were like, you know, when you have a cold or a flu. I haven't had this in a long time. It sounds like a brag, but I really haven't. And you just feel like shit. Sorry, everybody, if you have kids around. You just feel like poop, and you just, all you want is the experience of normality again. You just want that experience of feeling well again. And then all of a sudden you feel well again, and it's kind of just like, yeah, this is good. This feels good. It's kind of just like returning to normal. But yeah, there's just major gratitude. And also, when you overcome something like that, like MS or any sort of chronic illness that brings you such terrible pain of some sort, and then all of a sudden to come out of it and be like, whoa, like, I can do all the things that I wasn't able to do before. Now I can do them again. I can run again. I can hold my bowels. Amazing. I don't get eye problems anymore. It's intensely liberating, that it is the choices you made that led to that experience. And that's what I loved about it so much. It really was about the choices, the fact that I had a say in the matter, that if I didn't take these steps towards health, that I would have been somewhere else. It's just so liberating. It's empowering. It makes you want to kind of shout it from the mountaintops. Like, now all I want to do is tell people about it. That's why, like, I love performing and all that, but it's not as exciting to me right now as this is. This is so exciting.
I agree. It really is. And it's encouraging, it's enthusing, it's really empowering. Like you said before, it's empowering to know that you can now, you said you took the responsibility, you have the accountability, you have the power of choice, your free will. You used all of that to take yourself to an entirely new place, you know? So, I mean, how amazing is that to be able to trust yourself, to be able to have the self-confidence in you and your body to know what will keep you on the path, you know, because people can easily slip back if they make different choices or the same decisions that they made before. But now you know that there's so much more in store and more to explore on the other side. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is
Yes,
so
indeed.
beautiful. That is so beautiful, Adrianna. You know, I love that for you. I love that you're continuing to expand. I love that you never gave up. I love that you never took no for an answer. You know, like you just
Thank you.
you never did, you know? And I mean, it's your body. You have to live with it for the rest of your life. And you were like, no, I'm going to decide, you know, I'm going to decide to be stubborn in the right way.
You got to be stubborn about something.
If I'm going to be stubborn about something, it might as well be my life, you know? It might as well be my health. It might as well be myself. So with coffee, you were saying a few times that this was super challenging for you. And I'm sure that with all the people that have joined us and continue to give love, you know, during this conversation and really resonate with you during this conversation, I'm sure that there's many other people out there that still battle with coffee and, you know, they're in that Starbucks line and it's very routine, it's very regular, it's very normalized. What would you say that we don't really understand is actually taking place in the body when we're ingesting high amounts of caffeine, like just caffeine in general? What's actually happening?
Well, it's creating addiction. That's the first thing. Because it's so stimulating. That's the reason I loved it so much. I can't deny it. It's a pleasant experience to drink coffee. It really is. But you know what's even more pleasant is good health. Sorry, I had to say it. But the other thing too is coffee is really acidic. And our bodies are meant to be in an, drum roll please, an alkaline environment. And I'm sure most of you know about this. And a highly acidic environment is going to create problems, is going to create inflammation. We don't want that in our bodies. That's what meat eaters have, is they have a nice acidic environment because that's what they eat, is acid forming foods. We're not designed for that. We're designed for alkaline foods. And so coffee is that. It's also a stimulant. So the other thing that happens that is quite a big problem is that it stimulates the adrenals and it causes you to go into an unnatural state of fight or flight. So that's why we have that boost of energy, is that it causes our adrenal glands to go, oh my gosh, there's a tiger in the room. But we perceive it as, I have energy. But so there's that aspect. So that there's a few things compounding here. The other aspect of it is that when we're tired and we reach for coffee, we are not getting the sleep that our body actually wanted. We're suppressing our symptoms. Again, it's a drug. It's literally a drug. A drug is when you take it in order to suppress some sort of symptom. It's just like crack cocaine. You want to feel really good because you feel really bad. So I'm going to suppress my depression with cocaine or whatever it is. I don't know what you would use to suppress that. I guess there's other things too. You could, so many things. There are so many drugs, but coffee is also a drug because if you're tired, you should go to bed. we are not, the natural thing for us to do is to sleep enough. Obviously in the wild, if we actually had to be up for some reason because we had to run away from a tiger, whatever. But yes. However, at that, if you were on like a fully fruitarian or raw vegan diet, you would have a lot more energy. You likely wouldn't have to sleep as much. We wouldn't be bogged down with disease. We wouldn't be bogged down with toxicity. So we would have so much more energy. Like, I'm still in the process of healing. Like, I am not fully at my peak yet. It's only been 2 years that I've been a fruitarian now. And only 3 years that I've been off coffee. Like, I'm still detoxifying. That's why I'm doing a cleanse. Like, my process, my journey in this is not over. But yeah, but anyways, to get back to coffee, like, that's why it's so hard to break, is because it feels so good. And it makes us feel energetic. And the problem with that too is that when you drink coffee initially, it has the initial effect of making you feel really energetic, but then later on, it goes down. And yeah, like you were showing, like you all of a sudden have a crash because your body has now caught up with you and said, hey, you didn't get the sleep you needed, plus the coffee wore you out. Hello? Oh, let's get another cup of coffee. Start the process all over again. So anyway, it's not a great thing. And for kicking coffee, like getting rid of it, letting go of it. I'm a really big fan of the whole cold turkey idea, not eating cold turkey. But
you just dropped it.
Yeah, I just dropped it. I don't like the idea of weaning yourself off of something unless it's something really intense that you actually, for safety reasons, have to wean yourself off of, like some sort of hard, drug that you took, I don't know, medication. But with coffee, switching to a vegan diet or a raw vegan diet, I really think for most people, you can just overnight. Like, why not? Like, what are you waiting for? I just, like, deal with the detoxification now. Like, why like string it out? If you're like, okay, I'll have just 1 cup a day. Like, I don't know. To me, that turns into 2, because it's so addictive. It's a drug. Like, it's like if somebody's like, well, I'm doing cocaine every day. Okay, tomorrow I'm just going to have a little bit of cocaine. Like, really? I don't know. To me, that's not my protocol. I don't do that. I don't do it that way. I like going just all in or nothing.
I hear what you mean. It's like, I feel like we're afraid to waste a day, like when you said, you really hit home, you really resonate, Adrianna, because when you said that as soon as you cut coffee and you were in bed for like 2 days straight, and your body finally it caught up to you, it was running after you, and it finally caught up and it said, okay, like, here we are.
Analogy.
Let's heal, let's recover, let's rest, let's get refreshed. And when you were down for those 2 days, I mean, some people will prolong that, and because they don't want to waste a day. So they will end up almost wasting a lifetime because they're afraid to waste a day. So what you say, it just really strikes a chord, because it's like allowing your body to do what it's been begging you to do. They talk about, if we don't listen to the body while it's whispering, then it's going to start screaming at a certain point. It's going to be yelling, and then we have no choice but to listen,
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What a beautiful analogy too. Your body has been running after you this whole time. Right. Like, wait for me. Like, please go to sleep. Please sleep. Right. Please rest. Right. Then you finally, Oh yeah. It's crazy that we're not aware, like, because I wasn't aware, like, we're not told this stuff. This is just what's normal. And so we really got to have compassion for ourselves too. Like, of course we're eating this way. Of course we're living this way. I did for most of my life now. Same. So I can, right? Like, we cannot judge each other. That's the thing, is like with the fruit. when you feel really righteous about something, it's so easy to judge people who are not doing it. It's so easy. You can really slip there and be like, oh man, look at them, eating their junk food. Like I look at people's carts sometimes when I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, wait, Adrianna, like, come on, you were there like 5 years ago. You were doing the same stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Like that was you. So anyway, we have to be really like kind to ourselves in this process of change, because it is not easy at first. I'm sure for most people, especially with the cravings, because all these food-like products that we're being given are not food, and they also are addictive. The people who sell them want you to keep coming back for more. Of course they do. It's a free market. And I love that. I respect that. I'm like, yes, I believe that, companies should be able to create their products and whatever. But I do think we need to educate ourselves. We need to understand what is our natural food, what is actually healthy for us, so that we're going to start attracting companies who create really healthy restaurants, like raw vegan restaurants, which are amazing, by the way. And, because we really do vote with our dollar. If we start buying more organic food, we're going to start getting more organic food. If organic's all the rage, people are going to start growing organic. If fruits and vegetables are all the rage, people are going to start growing fruit trees. Vote with your freaking dollar.
Wow. The power is in our hands. Yeah, the power
Yes.
is in our hands. So, my goodness, thank you also, Adrianna, for your vulnerability and just your openness, your honesty and transparency with where you are in your journey, your compassion and kindness for yourself, and your grace with yourself, like giving yourself grace, understanding it's not a race, you're going at your own pace, right?
Yes.
And just to understand that right now, even on this juice cleanse, like this juice feast that you've been going for day 31 days, no solid food. I mean, the average person would think that you should be gone by now, right?
I know. It's crazy.
But here you are.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you just for all these pointers. Do you have any any vision of where you want to be with the juice cleanse? Like, did you have a day in mind that you wanted, or a deadline, or you just wanted to say until?
Well, initially I started with when I first started, I didn't really know. I just thought, I'm just going to take it day by day. If I do it for 3 days, one day, I don't care. I just want to try it. I just want to do it. And so it just became a pattern. I was like, I can do this. This is actually really not so bad. I thought it was going to be so hard. It's not that hard. It is at the beginning. But right now, as of right now, I thought I was only going to do 30 days. But now I'm kind of want to go to 40. We'll see. If I choose to stop tomorrow, then I will. But right now I'm like, I kind of want to keep going, because I don't feel like I feel like there's something in me right now that is just not wanting to come out. And it will eventually, but I want to give it another try. I want to maybe do some enemas or colonics potentially to get it out. Sorry for the TMI, everybody. I love talking about poop, so.
It's all good.
Woo woo!
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, those are great recommendations as well, like colonics, hydrocolon therapy, and enemas. Those were part of my journey as well when I was going through different processes and detoxing certain things. And you remind me, I only wanted to do 1 month as well years ago. That was back in was it 2019? Yeah, 2019. I was only gonna go 1 month. And the people that were around me at the time, they thought that was crazy, So
Yes.
I said, okay, if you think that's crazy, I gotta do it now. I gotta, they were like, no, you can't be done, don't. And just like you, when they said no, I was like, yes. So that was
You're a rebel too.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
And I ended up feeling so good that I went 2 extra months after that. During that time, I went 3 months. So at the time, that was the longest that I'd ever gone without solid food. And now, I mean, Jesus, Jesus, there's no limit to what our bodies can do when we allow them to. So yeah.
Wow, it's amazing how long you did it for. That, and you're still on juices right now?
on juices. Yeah.
Wow. Like, and how long has it been now?
So this time around, it's been over 2 years. So it's been since May 2022. So May of 2022, that
Wow.
was when I had my last solid. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So do you feel like you're going to continue doing this for, until a certain deadline, or are you just going to keep going until you want to stop?
Same thing. I don't have a deadline. You know, I haven't told myself that I will never eat solids again. So my inner child is happy, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't just cut that part off of me saying like never again, you know, but I have no want to go back. I really don't have any desires to go back because I enjoy the way that I feel on liquids. So yeah, I just enjoy the feeling. Yeah, I
That's
enjoy all the
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It gave me
That's incredible.
so many things that I thought that I lacked came back. Like like we
Mm.
were talking about all the clarity, the energy, the focus, the concentration, the stick-to-itiveness, the discipline, the just the determination, the purposefulness, the fulfillment, the joy, the peace, like
Mm.
emanating, radiating effortlessly, you know?
Yes.
It came
Oh.
to me and it was like it wasn't exactly what I started, but it was a lot to do with what I stopped, you know?
Mm.
It wasn't really like what I picked up, but it was what I dropped, like what I let go, that let in more flow, as it were. So yeah,
Wow.
thanks for asking. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So blessings, Adriana. You know, if this is someone's first time seeing you today and they're really like excited, you know, about embarking on their own journey, but they also feel really encouraged by your journey and they're like, I love this girl. This girl is awesome. You know, she came from clown school to do all of this and now she conquered her MS and she's you know, so blessed. What would you say would be the best place for people to find any offerings, any services that you have, or just to
Mm.
get in touch with you and to stay in tune with you?
I think the best place to get in touch with me would be on Instagram here. My Instagram, you probably see it somewhere at the top. It's just Adrianna Banana with an underscore, and Adrianna is with two N's. And yeah, I've got, like, you could just direct message me and we could set up a free call and we would just chat for 30 minutes. I just want to see like where you're at, like what your goals are, what you're struggling with. And I want to see if this is something like I can actually help you with. And also if you're like willing to do the thing that we need to do in order to help you. Because the other thing too is I don't want to work with people who are like, like maybe, like, no, like if you want to do this, you got to be in, like you're going to follow the protocol, because if you don't follow the protocol, you're not going to see the results. And honestly, all the information is free. Like, you can find this information on my channel on YouTube, which is adrianna.banana. Or even on my Instagram page, I give so much information. You can find this information on with Doug Graham, with Eli Martyr. But of course, some people like to have somebody take them through it. You know, I like to be held by the hand sometimes. So coaching can be really nice, especially if you vibe with the person, right? And people like it when it's custom to them. And I feel that too. So it's always nice to have somebody hear you out and help you with your specific situation. So if you want that, go to my Instagram page, send me a message. I'm happy to chat with you for a free consultation, and we'll figure things out from there if it's right for you. Yeah.
Beautiful,
Thank
beautiful,
you.
amazing. Well,
Thank you. Yeah.
yes, thank you. You know, I trust that, you know, wherever you go from here, I'm excited, you know, to see how it develops, how it continues to evolve. And yeah, let's do this again.
Ditto.
So that this was fun. This
This
was a
was
lot of fun.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so fun.
Oh, bless you. Likewise, likewise. So y'all go follow Adrianna. You know, she does one-on-ones and you know, get in touch with her, stay in touch with her, stay in tune with her, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Woohoo. Keep rocking in the fruit world, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.